Welcome everyone to the monthly Regen Community Dev Call, where we gather and review the product, technology, and science progress of the Regen Network team and our larger ecosystem of Open Team and Cosmos. I'm really happy to have members of both ecosystems here. So we're just going to wait another minute or two as folks hop into the call before I get going. As usual, we made a shift to just sort of review our public Notion board, which is available for anybody to see and sort of helps track progress in real time. And then work tickets are linked from Notion to our GitHub and GitLab accounts. So really doing our best to sort of exemplify the build in public ethos, in addition to being open source, but also just trying to build in public and engage with the community. So with that all said, I think I'll just sort of get going, and then we can open up the floor for conversation. So in today's call, I want to present again a little bit about where we've come and where we're going as we close the year, and then I'm going to pass the baton over to Corey to give us a quick little run through of the Regen Ledger DevNet that he and Anil and Robert and the rest of the engineering team spun up during the Collabathon, and we'll get a chance to see that. And I'll give a brief update around science and what's happening, because there's a lot moving and shaking as we close the year there, and a couple of other good news sort of updates. And then we'll open it up, and I'll try to keep all of our sharing to sort of 15 minutes, because it seems like there's a really great group of people here, and it's well worth opening the floor up for questions and comments. So yeah, without further ado, I'm just going to do our ritual of reviewing the Notion board here, and then we'll shift gears into a quick demo, or maybe not, demo is not the right word, but a quick conversation led by Corey about what we spun up on the DevNet side of things, and then we'll open the floor up. So sorry, my calendar here. There we go. All right. So, as always, and I think this is linked on the main Regen Network website. If not, we should make sure to link it. I think I made a comment about that earlier. So this is our public Notion board. It shows sort of 5 main threads of our progress and our work as a team, which are really sort of a unified whole, which is Regen Network. But each one of these represents either sort of a connection with a larger ecosystem, such as the Cosmos SDK or Open Team, or specific work on an element of our product, such as Regen Ledger or Science and the Registry. So we'll review each one of those briefly, just to give everybody a sense of where we're at. And then, you know, I'll open it up for any questions or additions, because team members are on and might want to just, you know, amend or upgrade my review of things. So the first, I'll just quickly review Regen Ledger here. So right now, as I noted, there's a DevNet up and running, which has a proof of concept ecological data module, ecosystem service credit module, and the groups module is being worked on, I think, as well. So that's all in progress. And functioning as a DevNet. As I said, we got that spun up for the Collabathon, and we'll go into a little bit more depth in that, because that's exciting, and we wanted to share a little bit more in this venue. We have not yet integrated CosmWasm, but the CosmWasm team is migrating CosmWasm over to 040, so there should be no real issues with getting that functioning and being able to hopefully host things like the quadratic funding smart contract that we'll put together, etc., on Regen Ledger. Cosmos SDK, I'm not going to speak too much to this because there's several of the engineering team on here who might be able to speak more to this. Maybe Corey, do you want to just give a like 30-second high-level overview of where this is at, just in terms of our role in the community and these particular work tickets?
For this row as an entirety, or are you talking about
just the whole, just this, you know, in progress, coming soon, you know. Sorry to put you on the spot. No,
it's fine.
I can take a crack at it, and you can upgrade if I'm wrong. That's also okay.
For the Stargate release, we're about to be hitting our 5th release candidate. That should be coming out ideally this week, or at the very latest by the end of next week. And that we've been in a long process of collaborating closely with both Gregory and Anil running the Big Bang testnet, as well as Zaki and all of the testnets that he's been running for the Cosmos Hub to kind of squash any bugs as they come up, as well as integrate feedback from integrators like exchanges and wallets, which Zaki Manian from the iClusion team has been leading all that communication. And yeah, we're RC5 is kind of our next milestone, and there's a tracking issue for that as well on GitHub, where folks can see what is coming. That's really only going to be relevant if you've been actively engaging in the RC process and have certain bugs that you're wanting to make sure got resolved. But for anyone wanting to integrate with Stargate, yeah, the message is that we're hopeful that this will be the last release.
And if you're, you know, on this call or watching this call because it's recorded and getting dispersed, and you're particularly interested in tracking the Cosmos SDK and participating and sort of need that level of engagement, please join the Cosmos Discord server and go to the Cosmos SDK channel. And the engineering team is tuned in there, and there's lots of conversation there, sort of tracking all of this stuff. Thank you, Corey. Mm-hmm. Regen Registry, well, maybe why don't I just Marie is on the call, and feel free to say, don't put me on the spot, but Marie, would you mind just giving a really brief overview of where the registry MVP is at? I know there's been a little bit of work, but it's not been sort of the highest priority. So.
Yeah, sure.
Great.
Just give me a second. So, yeah, we've been mainly working on upgrading the current project page for Wilmot project, and also developing integration with Stripe that will allow buyers to directly purchase credits through our platform, whether that's through direct checkout or invoicing. And we are starting to work with the Ledger team in order to integrate the current DevNet into the registry that will allow querying data from the Ledger. In particular, data related to credit insurance, document verification and timestamping, stuff like this.
Whoa, thank you. That's really helpful context. Yeah, fantastic. And I'm sure there might be some questions around that, but let's move through the last piece here, science, and then if folks have questions or discussion about the whole, we can take a pause there. So thank you, Marie. So science, I'll do my best to represent this. We don't have the science team. The high level is the science team is working really hard to get, because we have a credit purchaser, and we can't disclose all the details of that, who's asking to purchase the first vintage of credits that's being released off of the uh, Grasslands Carbon Plus methodology that our team developed, which is really exciting. So the science team is deep getting all of that together in an accelerated timeline now, before the end of the year. So everybody's hustling on that front. I think everything's going pretty well. It's all very exciting. You can see some detailed overview of, here around what's being worked on. The high level here is that, coming into the new year, we're going to be working to expand our grassland and rangeland beyond the New South Wales initial pilot that we did into North America. And we're going to be working to develop forestry, agroforestry, forest conservation, and reforestation methodologies, hopefully in partnership with some really exciting folks. Again, doing a sort of open science built in public approach, in collaboration with Open Team and other folks. So really excited about the coming year and sort of the scientific side of monitoring, reporting, and verification of ecosystem services. So with that, I'm going to stop screen sharing, and so just sort of shift gears and just take a quick pause and see if there's any questions, or if folks would like to go into a little bit more detail or dialogue about any specifics about that sort of large pattern level roadmap overview that we just went through around where Regen Network is at right now as we close out 2020. Okay, great. And I actually just remembered, I'm going to, sorry for the lumpiness here. I just remembered I didn't scroll down far enough. We forgot to review Open Team. So lots of work happening here. The things that are in progress all link, if you want to link through the things in this Notion board, all link through to the GitLab tickets that are associated with them. So we're working to support SurveyStack with digital signature capability. This is more or less on pause, although I think now that Terragenesis International has joined Open Team, this will pick back up again, sort of Cool Farm tool perennials module and GHG estimation for agroforestry specifically. Slow, steady work that we're involved with on the data ontologies work package, and there's a methods library work happening. Again, we've sort of downcycled a little bit in that because our science team has been pretty focused on the Grasslands Carbon Plus stuff. And then where there's a lot of activity right now, just to report, is in the clearinghouse work, and been trying to weave both that together with the field to market and ESMC and Heartland teams. And yeah, that's feeling really exciting and lots of good work going on there. So just to round that out. Okay, well, take a pause and take a breath, and maybe pass the baton over. Feel free to interrupt if people would like to review any of that whirlwind overview of where things are at in the Regen Network universe. And if not, I'm going to pass the baton over to Corey to give us a quick rundown around what the proof of concept Regen DevNet that was launched during the Collabothon, what it is, what it does, and how it relates to our progress towards mainnet.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I would ask first is just because I wasn't on the last community dev call, which I think happened during the Collabothon. So was that something that we already discussed in a little bit of detail, Gregory, with this group, or to what extent?
We ended up having we ended up having technical difficulties, so that we didn't have a community dev call. There was no last community dev call. We skipped a month.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, yeah, in that case, let me, I can do a quick screen share as well to show off. First thing that I'll kind of showcase here is our validator the block explorer that we have set up, which can show you the list of active validators on the DevNet. But during the collabathon, we spun up a DevNet where the validators were first and foremost a number of team members from the Regen engineering team. And then we also had a couple of community validators who were folks that kind of came through the collabathon ecosystem and were actively participating in spinning up a validator for us. This is a block explorer that was set up by Anil from the Bitwit team. And if you want to join, it is still active and up and running. As a validator, the process for doing so is all outlined here on our testnets repo. So this links to Regen DevNet 2, which is the current iteration of our DevNet. And there's a pretty nice, easy to use validator script that will basically get a validator all set up for you with keys and link you out to get some tokens from a faucet. So it makes that process pretty streamlined. And then for folks,
super slick, Anil. Thank you for that. It's pretty awesome.
And yeah, this is really great and definitely made it easy for some of the folks outside of our team who are wanting to jump into the process. And for folks who are wanting to get more involved on the client developer side, the current best place to look is our new docs website, which I think for just looking at the folks on here, like Will, you've already seen this. Dorn, maybe this is new to you, but we have a technical documentation website now that walks through how to download and install Regen Ledger, how to get set up with some test keys, and how to connect to our live DevNet and start sending and receiving transactions as well. It also walks through a little bit of the existing functionality, which at this point we've separated into two kind of main custom modules that we built. So that's the kind of bulk of what Regen Ledger provides at this point. It's an eco credit module for the issuing and management of actual credits on chain. So like financial assets that are related to some kind of ecological state, and a data module, which is intended for the storing, signing, and timestamping of arbitrary blobs of data on our ledger. And these two are intended to kind of play in some way connected to each other. You might have a bunch of data that's archived or timestamped on Regen Ledger that is then referred to by the eco credit module. And that data can, in a separate process, be signed by validator or by monitors or verifiers of some methodology process. And we're still kind of going through the process internally for our registry use case for the carbon credits, for the carbon plus grasslands credit, how actually those will play into these two modules and what the schemas will look like for that methodology. That's a process that we're just starting to kick off with ourselves. But definitely for folks wanting to engage in the ledger more generally, these are available for you to start messing around with, for you to be issuing credits directly on our DevNet and playing around with, making claims and signing data. The JavaScript side of this is the next piece that we are working on. Currently, what exists in the form of APIs is like if you're actually wanting to interact with these modules, you're more or less limited to the CLI if you're wanting to deal with key management directly. Cosm.js does exist, but as we've already been playing around with it a little bit, it is quite clunky to have that working with the actual Regen specific modules. It's not that it's that difficult, but it would require you to be compiling your own protobuf definitions into JavaScript or whatever language you're working with, and then managing the whole creation of those what's called sign docs, or the documents that end up needing to get signed for a transaction to be broadcasted on the network properly. And we have Omri from our team who's actually working on a Regen JavaScript library, which is potentially going to use Cosm.js, but potentially just interact directly with a TypeScript protobuf library that we found that seems to provide a lot of what we would need in terms of bare bones functionality. So that is stuff that's in progress currently. And once we have an MVP of that working, that's going to unblock us being able to actually read data from the DevNet directly on our registry application, as well as kickstart conversations again with the digital signatures work package with RSI, so that we can continue getting digital signatures sent through the survey stack application,
right,
and kick that whole work package off again.
so the like the connection there is the JavaScript Regen JavaScript library is essential for the interoperability and the work tickets happening over an open team, and that's exciting. Do we have a sort of a, where is Amaury in that process of just like, where is that in our larger orchestration of engineering work, just to kind of.
I would say that like it's probably a couple of days more work for him to get something of a baseline ready, but unfortunately with Stargate, being our kind of top priority to get done before the end of the year, that's not something that I think he's going to be able to get to this week. We were just having our internal prioritization call before this call, and are actually taking a pause this week from Regen development so that we can focus on getting the last pieces done for the Cosmos SDK Stargate release. But hopefully there'll be some time to work on that next week, and if not, this will be the first thing that we'll be tackling on the Regen client side and after the holidays.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. That's super helpful. All right. Well, take another breath, and would love to just open it up to see if there's questions or comments from anyone who's on the call about all of the information that's just been shared. Or amendments. Go ahead, Will.
I was just going to say that looks like you guys have been super busy and awesome work. Yeah, I'm excited for everything you've just announced and like the potential for integrations and everything.
Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Will. And just a quick question, Corey, did we end up including COSM WASM on the DevNet or not quite? I don't remember. There was some back and forth about that.
So we do, I know that we have something merged in, which is from their working branch that COSM WASM has against Stargate, but I don't think it's been tested. And I'm not sure exactly of how useful it is. I don't know.
So if you want to go break something, Will, you could. If you want to go break something, Will, you could go try to launch your Rust contract on the DevNet.
True, that sounds fun. There's still a bug remaining in it, and I wanted to follow up with you guys at some point about it, just because we never kind of like debriefed. And we need to fix like a bug that it has, but it's mostly everything else works besides like there's an issue with payouts. But
cool. Yeah, and just given, I mean, my sense of things, just to manage expectations on that sort of like that loose thread of the hackathon and your guys' work on that, my sense of things is just given there's a lot of stuff, kind of like there's a lot of time pressure for us on our end coming up to the holidays. So my sense is, just to manage expectations, we should probably have like a thorough debrief and conversation and then dispersal of funds around the hackathon in the new year. I think is going to probably make the most sense. And if we can get to it earlier, we will. But
that's fine. I figured, I mean, I've been in the same boat. I think Paul's been in the same boat. I think we just figured everybody's super busy lately. So it's, whenever, I mean, it's not urgent by any means.
Awesome.
But I'd love to keep it alive, It's cool work.
Yeah. And it'd be really fun to play, like to get that live and play around with it, and that may be something that we could be considering and doing some design together, and just sort of a nod to Dorn and the open team community, and to you, Will and Paul, maybe some brainstorming early in the new year about the potential interactions between the quadratic funding contract and the eco-state and credit modules, for instance, crowdfunding ecological change or crowdfund. I think there's a couple of different things that we could consider, and we could get that use case potentially up into the testnet. And again, another big headline, we'll be working to launch our last incentivized testnet and towards the end of January, in the new year. And so there's still a little, I don't want to sort of, we're not a fixed date there, but that's kind of the goal at the moment, so that we can run that test net and then be again, end of Q1, sort of end of March, is our goal for launching mainnet. And so, getting the final testing environment up and being able to run it and run our tests and stress test things is really important. And a part of that is going to be playing with some of these use cases. So, if we can have a live interaction between COSM, WASM, and our other custom modules, that'd be really fun. So we can think about that together. So cool. Other questions or comments from folks? We're just sort of approaching the 30-minute mark, which is usually when we like to wrap. So great. Well, yeah, appreciate everybody taking a little time out of your day. Oh, there's Dorn. And hi, Dorn.
Just want to say thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you also. Awesome.
All right. Well, have a great rest of your day and a great month. Happy holidays to everyone. We'll pick this up. We'll have our next community dev call in the new year, and feel free to get in touch with us on Discord, which is where we're trying to manage most of the sort of conversations on this level, at least. And yeah, have beautiful holidays, everyone.
You too. Thank you so much.
You too. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.